What's up, guys? Devon back here. Gonna do a little research dive on the Arnold Palmer Invitational, but first, do a little recap on the Honda Classic. Just finished up a couple of hours ago. Let me tell you, I'm always the first one to tell you that the Draftkings did not go my way this week. But something I can say that I did correctly this time. There's a lot of things I did incorrectly. We'll get into that. But the outright bet on Chris Kirk was right this week. It's my second outright hit of the year. I'm counting since I've started making these videos, so since January. Yeah, wow. It was I didn't really watch a whole lot all day. But I ended up turning it on when Chris Kirk and Eric Cole were on the 18th. And I didn't see the drives, but I was watching the second shots, and I got to watch Chris Kirk put it into the water on the second shot on 18, and I was like, well, there it goes for me. Yeah, he was up by a stroke. It kind of reminded me of what happened last year with with Daniel Berger and Shane Lowry. Berger put it in the water on 18 when he could have probably had a chance. Yeah. So, watch Kirk put it into the water, and I'm like, oh man, this is over. And then Eric Cole hits his second shot in. Ends up trailing off to the left side of the green down into the collection area. And I was like, oh, man, this is going to suck because Kirk had to drop pretty far back and hit his fourth shot in and didn't really put it close. And I'm like, he's going to have to really try to make that for par. And at this point, I'm thinking Eric Cole's getting this up and down for birdie. And when Eric Cole chipped it up on the green, he just thinned it a little too much, and it rolled all the way off to the other side of the green. He ends up chipping back on and putting for par. Kirk gets him for bogey. We go to the playoff. I'm like, okay, all right. Kirk's got the experience here. Cole's a rookie. He's never kind of been in this spot, so it might be good. Kirk tees off, and he doesn't hit a draw like he normally does. It starts bleeding to the right, and it bounces into the rough behind a tree. The tree was like in direct line with the hole. The lie wasn't bad. It was just the tree was cutting him off for trying to go for the green in two. So he had to lay up and back into the fairway. And Cole hits his second shot in, and I don't know if it was just the adrenaline or, the commentators were talking about how it was kind of like an in-between club, and he might have just went with the wrong club. But he ends up hitting it off the back of the green into the bunker. And the bunker that's on the back of the green on 18 is very long, and the green was working away from him. So it was going to be a pretty difficult chip. So then Kirk gets up to his third shot, and he's got 101 yards in. Just absolutely flushes a 60-degree and puts it within 2 feet for birdie. Eric Cole gets up there and hit the best shot he could. Left him a good chance for birdie, about 15 feet. Or I think it was less than that because they were going on and on about how he hadn't missed a putt within 15 feet all day or whatever. And so I was like, well, this has got a chance to go to the next hole. And Cole ended up lipping it out. His birdie putt lipped out, and Kirk ended up winning it in the playoffs. So we hit Kirk 28-1 this week. That was awesome. Pissed at myself about one and done again. You know, I tried to be cute with it, really cute with it, went with Nick Hardy. When I was all over Kirk betting, I had Kirk in every DraftKings lineup. I should have just went with Kirk. I tried to be cute and try to make up some ground and hope that Nick Hardy could get it done. That was stupid. It's the second time in the last month that because Kirk was my pick like all week, and then I decided to be cute with it like an idiot, and yeah. Again, I missed Max Homa at Farmers when I was on him. I switched off him at last second. I was on Kirk all week, switched off him because I was thinking I was going to be cute and try to make up some ground, and so I missed two big opportunities and one and done. But with these elevated events, I can make up the ground if I get these guys right. So, but yeah, moving into Arnold Palmer this week, it's going to be a good one. I'm excited. Just going to take a look at strokes gained in the last 50 rounds first. Just overall, nothing plugged into it. Just going to take a look at what we got here. Or this is different, actually. I'm sorry, this isn't. I thought this was the normal one. So I did go through, and I made it specific for like what Arnold Palmer is. So if you don't know, Bay Hill Club and Lodge is a par 72. It measures out to about a little over 7,400 yards, almost 7,500 yards. It's Bermuda greens, and these greens are lightning fast. It's going to be important this week to score on the par 5s, and the par 3s are no joke. All of them are basically 200 plus. Hole number 7 is 199 yards, but hole 14 is 215 yards, hole 17 is 221 yards, and hole 2 is 231 yards. Those are the four par 3s on this course. And then the par 5s on this course, 16 is 511 yards, 6 is 555 yards, 12 is 574 yards, and 4 is 590 yards. So it's going to be important to take advantage of those par 5s this week, and it's going to be important to just get par on these par 3s because they are long. They are long. So, so this strokes gained is the last 50 rounds, looking at Bermuda greens, looking at par 72s, and looking at courses over 7,400 yards. And as you can see, Rory McIlroy shows up in strokes gained total number 1 on these types of courses. He's 1 in tee to green, 1 in ball striking, 1 off the tee, and 1 at DraftKings points. Number 2 is Jordan Spieth, which is kind of interesting. It keeps getting interesting. Number 3 is Charlie Hoffman. Number 4 is Chris Kirk. We're going to talk about him because I'm going to be going back to him this week. Number 5 is Gary Woodland. 6 is Justin Rose. 7 is Jason Day. 8 is Russell Henley. 9 is Adam Scott. And Corey Connors is number 10. So it's kind of interesting. Some other guys that are interesting to talk about with this specific strokes gained total on the specific course dynamics. You got Tyrrell Hatton at 15, who has won here at Arnold Palmer. Not with quite the field that we have this week, but he still has won it. He knows his way around here. John Rahm is 16. Hideki Matsuyama is 21. Keith Mitchell is another interesting one this week. He's shown that he can compete in the elevated event, and we're in Florida on Bermuda, and Keith Mitchell loves Florida. So Keith Mitchell's 22. Victor Hovland, who had a good showing here last year, 23. Billy Horschel, 23. I guess they're tied. So Billy Horschel, we'll say, is just 24. Another Florida guy can get it done on Bermuda. Scotty Scheffler's down here at 27, and at 30 we got Tony Finau. A couple of other interesting guys that are a little bit lower. Keegan Bradley at 33, Sung J M at 34, Matt Fitzpatrick at 36, Will Zalatoris at 37. So this is going to be an interesting week. You're going to have to get the guys down low right. This pricing is probably going to be similar to what we had at Phoenix, but Max Homa, I would assume, we'll get into that later. We'll talk about my guesses for pricing ranges. So, looking at my custom model that I made this week for Arnold Palmer, this is what I have. So, I have strokes gain off the tee 10%, strokes gain on approach, which is going to be the most important aspect this week. I have at 30%. I've got 5% on putting. We're going to have a lot of shots into greens that are 200 plus, so I actually bumped that to 15%. So proximity 200 plus, 15%. Par 3s 200, 225, 10%. Strokes gained par 5s 10%. Opportunities gained 10%. And strokes gained par 4 10%. So this is going to be difficult, especially if we see like last year, round 3 and 4 were very windy. And let me see where I had. Let's see. Let's just go to leaderboard for last year. So as you can see here, the big difference between rounds 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 was the wind. It was calm rounds 1 and 2, and then it was windy as hell rounds 3 and 4. And you can see that based on some of these round scores. For instance, so Scotty won at 5 under. Victor was second at 4 under. But look at Victor. Round 1, shot a 69. Round 2, he shot a 66. And then round 3, he shot a 75. Round 4, he shot a 74. Same thing with like Billy Horschel. He shot a 75 in round 4. Gary Woodland shot a 73 in round 5. Taylor Gooch shot a 77 in round 4. So it's going to be interesting based off of the wind, because if the wind doesn't play as big of a factor, we could see like in previous years where the winning score is around 10, 11, 12 under. Or we can see it like this where it's 5 under because of the wind. So that's going to be interesting to look at. We may look at that aspect tomorrow when we get the DraftKings pricing on the DraftKings show and on the betting show. But for now, we're not going to worry about the weather. You're going to want to wait on the weather anyways until like Wednesday to really get an idea of what's going to be going on, if there's going to be any advantages in rounds 1 and 2 based on tee times and things like that. So I'm not going to worry too much about the weather because it's too early for that, but keep that in the back of your mind. The wind can really affect the way this is played and can make it a lot more difficult. And you can see these higher scores in later rounds if the wind is up, or you can see them in the early rounds if the wind is up. So, yeah, so let's pop this in and see what we get here for the model. Doing it over the last 24 rounds. I know, I already can tell you I'm going back to Chris Kirk. He plays this course well. We can even look at this real quick on the tournament history, but man, Chris Kirk plays this course really well. Just to highlight, so in 2022 T5, 2021 T8, 2019 T15, 2018 13th. So he can get around here, and yes, it is elevated, but Kirk has shown that he can be up there with these guys in these elevated events. So I'm going to be going back to him. Maybe people, because everybody believes you can't go back to the guy that won the week before, but, just the way Kirk has been playing, if his ownership is lower, I would go to him. But going back to the custom stat model here, let's see what we get here. All right, no surprise. Jon Rahm comes out number 1 in the model. Xander Schauffele is 2, Rory McIlroy 3, Colin Morikawa is 4, Patrick Cantlay is 5, Tony Finau 6, Gary Woodland 7, Tom Hoagie's 8, Will Zalatoris 9, and Tom Kim is 10. Some notable guys, especially guys that I'm going to be looking at that are lower than 10. Someone I'm very interested in is Jason Day. He's 13th in the model. Jason Day's playing really well, and when he was playing his best golf. He played great at Bay Hill, so I am really interested in Jason Day this week. Victor Hovland is 15, Lowry 16. Another guy I'm really looking at is Sung J M. If we look at the tournament history here, where was good old Sung J? I think, if I remember right, he doesn't play bad here. Yeah, so 2022 he had a T20, 2021 T21, 2020 third, 2019 tied third. So he didn't have the best of week this week at Honda when everybody was on him. We might possibly be able to get him at lower ownership this week, and I would not hate going back to him this week. So I'm looking at Sung Jae. I like him. So other notables down here, I've heard Pat Mayo talked about Luke Liston, how he's had some great performances here, and I feel like he could end up being a popular guy to lower down in the range. Scotty Scheffler ranks out 21st in this model, but I like Scotty Scheffler. We've seen he already defended one title. Who's to say he can't defend all these titles this year? I like him in match play this year. I like him this week. So, yeah, I'm looking at Scotty. Some other guys that I'm looking at, Sahith shows that he can compete in these big events, and I'm going to have interest in him. Based off of Charlie, let's see what Charlie Hoffman's tournament history is here, because he was showing up in the strokes gain and on Bermuda par 72 course over 7,400 yards. So Charlie Hoffman here, excuse me, of course every time I make a video I gotta yawn. Charlie Hoffman here at Bay Hill, he didn't play it last year. But in 2021, he was T10, 2020, T13, 2019, he was cut, and 2018, he was tied for 14th. So, Hoffman's going to be interesting. I am going to be taking a look at him. Some other guys down here. Tyrrell Hatton is a guy that I'm going to be looking at. He always seems to play this course well. So here is his recent results. 2022 tied second, 2021 T21, he won in 2020, T29 in 2019, and T69 in 2018. So Tyrrell Hatton is a guy I'm going to be looking at, especially with the way he's been playing recently. If we want to look at that real quick, what he's been doing, he's really good on Bermuda, so that's good. He can play when it's windy. If the wind gets kicking, he can play well. He's good on difficult tracks. But here at the Genesis, if we look, he lost a half a stroke with the putter, and he lost a little over 1 stroke on approach. Excuse me. But at Phoenix, he was 6th. The only place where he faltered was around the green, where he lost almost a stroke. But if he can get positive with his putter, I could see him playing well here at Bay Hill, and he's a guy that I'm going to be looking at. So, of course, you can always look at, John Rahm and Max Homa. Max Homa is really elevating. So, you can always look at those guys at the top. But I want to find some guys that aren't necessarily going to be at the top that I'm really interested in. Keegan Bradley was a guy I brought up. Let's see what he has done here. Okay, another Florida guy, or lives in Florida, so he's used to these kinds of things. 2022 T11, 2021 T10, 2020 T42, 2019 T46, and 2018 T26. So he can get around here. Hasn't missed a cut in the last 5 years at this course. Yes, it is going to be different this year because there are more guys in this field, but I do like Keegan Bradley this week. Man, where some of these guys that I was expecting in my model to be up here aren't up here. Looking at, where's Matt Fitzpatrick at? Because I'm interested in Matt Fitzpatrick. Wow, he ranks 109th in my model because his approach numbers are just absolutely garbage. But let's take a look. Let's just look at him outside of the model. Great on Bermuda. great on a difficult course, and he's great in wind. So all things that we're looking at for this course. He missed the cut at the Genesis. Just really couldn't get it. He only gained a stroke off the tee, and he gained a little over 0 with the putter. Everywhere else lost, and as we can see, this is the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. His last 7 events, he's lost strokes on approach, which is really important here. It's interesting. Sorry, throat was getting a little dry. It's interesting that he's been so bad on approach when, all of last year he seemed just so good on approach, just gaining all over the place. Last year here at API, he barely was over 0 on approach, but gained 5 strokes to the putter, gained 3 strokes off the tee. So if he can get the putter going and just kind of be close to a 0 on approach, Matt Fitzpatrick could be in play this week, and I do like him, so I'm going to start him. Talked about Jason Day. Let's look at Jason Day real quick. Do a deep dive on Jason Day because I really like him. I'm going to be betting him again. We know that he's great on POA. He does great on Bermuda. He's good on difficult tracks, and he's okay in the wind. So, but looking at what he's done, he's really just brought his game back, and it's great to see. And I was worried for him at Genesis because when he played in the morning, I think it was on Friday, it was cold. Or maybe it was whatever day he played on the morning. It just was a little worrisome, because of his back issues. And I believe it was Thursday because he didn't play that well Thursday. And then he was just like, boom, lights out for the rest of the tournament. So, but, look what he's doing. He's gaining a ton off the tee. He's gaining around the green, and the putter is just on fire. And he's not doing bad with the approach. He lost at Genesis half a stroke on approach, and then he lost almost 2 strokes at the Farmers on approach. Jason Day's got the game to win here, and I really like him this week. So I'm going to be going back to him. He didn't fail me the last time I went to him. I thought he was going to. I thought he was going to miss the cut at Genesis, but he didn't. So I will be on Jason Day. I will be betting Jason Day. No doubt about it. So I like Jason Day this week. Talking about Chris Kirk. So he's going to be coming off the win here. He's 66 in my model. But, man, he's been playing really good. He's great on Bermuda. He's okay on Bermuda. Okay. Difficult tracks, not necessarily his strong suit, but he's okay. And he's okay in the wind. What has he been doing recently? So when he missed the cut at Phoenix, almost lost 2 strokes on approach, was a 0 off the tee, or a little less than 0 off the tee, and just the tee to green play was not good. It was almost a 0 with his putter, and he was gaining almost 2 strokes around the green at Phoenix. That's not going to get it done. So, but look what he did before. The 3rd place finish at American Express. He gained 8 strokes tee to green. A little over 2 off the tee, a little over 4 on approach, 2 strokes with the putter, and almost 2 strokes around the green. And what did he do at Sony? 6.8 tee to green. Lost almost 1 off tee, but was gaining 5.5 strokes on approach, gaining 2 around the green, and gaining almost 3 with the putter. And then I'm curious to see what his stats are when they get plugged in for this tournament. But his putter, man, his putter has been good. I like Chris Kirk again. Man. I like him again, and I'm hoping people won't go back to him because he won. And I like him this week. I really do. Is there anybody else that Oh, let's Sungjae. Did we do a deep dive on Sungjae? So, looking at Sungjae, he kind of disappointed this week. Obviously, Bermuda is his best surface. Everybody talks about Sungjae when we get to the Florida swing. He basically does the same gaining strokes in any kind of difficulty, easy, average, or difficult. He's good in the wind. So let's see what he's been doing recently. Genesis, not too good for him. This week wasn't too good for him either. But he lost 2 strokes with the putter at Genesis. I'm curious to see what he did this week because I know the putter was a struggle again this week. When I was looking at Showdown for round 4, looking at his round 3 strokes gained, his putter was terrible. And if it would have just been a 0, he would have been probably top 10. So I'm curious to see what his statistics are tomorrow. But Sungjae's great in Florida, and he's done good at this course. Let's just take a look at what he's done here recently. So, the last 4 years, 20th. I mean, we already talked about this, but look what he's doing. Wow, last year, lost 2 strokes to the green, lost a little over 1 around the green, but he gained 7.2 strokes putting. The year before that, 5 strokes off the tee, lost 3 on approach, and lost 4 around the green, almost gaining 8 strokes putting. And then look when he finished 3rd those 2 years in a row in 2019, 2020, okay? 2020, he gains almost 4 strokes off the tee, 1.6 on approach, 5.3 around the green, and he only gains a little over 1 stroke with the putter. In 2019, he loses almost a stroke off the tee, 6.6 strokes gained on approach, 2.5 gained around the green, and a little over 2 gained with the putter. So if we could get 2020's tee to green play with 2021 and 2022's putter, Sungjae's going to win. Sungjae's going to win. So he's got, if he can flip this putter, his putter has been just not good recently. If he can flip the putter this week, Sungjae's got a great chance of winning. So I like Sungjae. And right now, again, it's going to be hard until pricing comes out. But, if I'm looking at pricing wise, let's just think about it. I'm going to write it down as I talk about it. 10K range. Obviously, John Rahm, who is probably going to be closer, if not over 11,000. You're going to have Rory McIlroy in the 10K range. You're going to have Scotty Scheffler in the 10K range. And my guess would be, with the way he's been playing recently, I think Max Homa finally cracks the 10K range. I think Max Homa will crack the 10K range. Now, the one awkward one here is Xander Schauffele. I bet you have John Rahm over 11.1. And then you have Rory McIlroy at 10.9. Scotty Scheffler at 10.7. Max Homa at 10.3. And I bet you have Xander at 10 flat. Just because that's what typically ends up happening. So I think you're going to have 5 guys in the 10K range. And then in the 9K range, you're going to have Morikawa. You're going to have Cantlay. You're going to have Finau. Does Justin Thomas make the 10K range? Or 9K range? I think Justin Thomas makes the 9K range this week. Who else? Victor Hovland will be in the 9K range. Am I missing anybody here? Will Zalatoris be in the 9K range? I am going to say Will Zalatoris will be in the 9K range. Is there anybody else that I can think of that's going to be in the 9K range here? Possibly Hideki? maybe. Anybody else? Adam Scott will probably be in the 8K range. Anybody else? That could be in the 9K range. I don't think so. Oh, Matt Fitzpatrick for sure is going to be in the 9K range. Anybody else? Billy Horschel will probably be 7K this week. Maybe low 8K. But 8K range, Hideki's going to be like right in the low 9 or high 8. I'm going to say Hideki is high 8s. I'll say Tom Kim will be in the 8K range. Jason Day will be in the 8K range. Sung Jae will be in the 8K range. I would say Shane Lowry will be in the 8K range. Who else will be there? Will Gary Woodland be in the 8K range? Siwoo Kim will be in the 8K range. Will Keegan be in the 8K range? I don't think so. Will Corey Connors? These guys are just tweeners. Oh, Tyrrell Hatton will be in the 8K range for sure. Will Ricky be in the 8K range again? Cam Young will be in the 8K range. I think they're going to have a big 8K range again this week. Keegan, I don't think will be in the 8K range. I think he'll be in 7. Keith Mitchell will probably be in 7. Jordan Spieth. Ooh. Jordan Spieth will probably be in the 8K range. Is my guess. Tommy Fleetwood will be in the 8K range. Ricky's Taylor Montgomery will be in the 8K range. Will Ricky be in the 8K range? It wouldn't surprise me if Ricky. Adam Scott will be in the 8K range is my guess. And anybody else? I don't think so. I think that gets everybody. Ricky will probably be either the highest 7K guy or he'll be in the 8Ks. Keegan Bradley will be high 7s. I would say Keith Mitchell's high 7s. Adam Hadwin will be high 7s. Sahith will be high to mid. Corey Connors will be high to mid. Yeah. So Tom Hoagie will probably be mid 7s. Gary Woodland will be mid 7s. So it's interesting. I think it's gonna be interesting. Chris Kirk will probably be in the 7K range, possibly 8K range after the win. But some guys that I'm really looking at betting that obviously numbers aren't out yet are I guess maybe I should check. Let's see. I doubt it. I bet they're gonna be out at like 7 a.m. tomorrow, like they were last week. They are not out. But guys that I'm gonna be looking at betting, Scotty Scheffler. Will Zalatoris, Matt Fitzpatrick, Jason Day, Sung Jae Im. I think those are 5 guys that I'm going to be betting on. Depending on the number. Chris Kirk. I could see betting on Chris Kirk again this week. Because he's going to be like, his odds are probably going to be like 70 to 1, 65 to 1. But if I had to guess, John Rahm's obviously going to lead betting. I would say he opens at 8 to 1. Rory will be like 9 to 1. Scotty will be 10 to 1. I would say Max is 14 to 1. 12 to 14 to 1. Xander will be 14 to 16 to 1. I would say 16 to 1. Who would be the next guy up? Probably Justin Thomas, Cantlay, and Morikawa. I would say Justin Thomas is probably 18. Cantlay's 20. Morikawa is like 20. Finau is 22. Victor's 25. Will Zalatoris is 25. Matt Fitzpatrick is probably 25 as well. And then I think you'll get like Sungjae at 35. Tyrrell Hatton at 35. Where's Spieth? Spieth at 35? I don't know. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm going to look like an idiot when it comes out. But that's just what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that Jason Day is like... My hope is Jason Day is 50. But with the way he's playing, it wouldn't surprise me if he's like 45, 40. I would say Hideki is 40. Tom Kim is 40. Adam Scott's 45. Jason Day is 50. Shane Lowry is 50. Cam Young is... Tommy Fleetwood is 55. Cam Young is 55. Siwoo is 60. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to look like an idiot when those come out, but I'm just guessing. Just for the entertainment value. But, yeah, so the 5 guys that I'm really looking at betting are Scotty, Will Zalatoris, Matt Fitzpatrick, Jason Day, and Sungjae Im. And I'll probably say Keith Mitchell, depending on his number, and Chris Kirk, depending on his number. I think one of the big guys is going to win it, but we've seen that these guys like Mitchell and Kirk can hang up there with these guys in these big events. So that's going to do it for tonight for the little research that we did. Check back tomorrow night for the Draftkings show and the betting show. Yeah, so that's what we got going. Remember, when we get to 50 subscribers, I'm going to do a giveaway. So like, comment, let me know what your favorite play for DraftKings is, or who you're looking at early, who you want to win, who you expect to win. Just let me know something in the comment section. I appreciate you guys. Let's get back at it this week, and let's see if we can get another outright win. It was nice to get the Chris Kirk outright win, and use some of that money this week for this week's bets coming up, and hopefully get another one. All right, guys. Have a good night, and look forward to the shows tomorrow.